Well, welcome to another exciting edition of the CBC Teens Podcast, Good Conversation Interview. My name is Brother Sam, and I hope you're having a wonderful time at your homes. Today we'll interview Coach Doug Hoffman. Coach Hoffman grew up at Cleveland Baptist Church. He received his education at Heritage Christian School, went away to Bible college, and from there has taught and coached at Heritage Christian School and served at Cleveland Baptist Church, his home church. Listen in as Coach Hoffman shares his insight and philosophy on coaching and spiritually influencing teens. Enjoy the interview. Coach Hoffman, how are you today?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
How's your quarantine going?
We're making our way through it, but my hands, I think we're finally through it, washing them, keeping them clean. So,
I was going to say, how clean are they?
Oh, they've never been this clean. So.
Did you have a big kahuna right before you came to this interview?
No, after. You promised, right?
I promised you a big kahuna
exactly.
after this, baby. This is how we pay our interviewees with RB sandwiches, so that works out pretty good.
To go, of course. Always to go.
Always to go, never in.
Never
in. So hopefully the coupons will work still. Well, for the Good Conversation interview, it's just an opportunity for us to keep our church connected and interviewing some other people in ministry that we might have an interaction with. And Coach Hoffman, you've been a pillar around here. I know you didn't want me to say that, but you have been here a while, and it is really cool to see because these days very few people even stay in a ministry for more than 5 years. You know, a lot of times it's just like this go sort of thing. You grew up here. And you went to school here. What was it like growing up at CBC and HCS?
Growing up, having the privilege of having a good, solid family, going to school here from first grade all the way up through graduating 12th grade. It was a great experience. Sometimes it was hard, because I feel like sometimes we were in a fishbowl because my parents, were on staff and things like that. But you learn to deal with that kind of stuff. And we weren't perfect. I know that. I'm sure there's probably parents out there and people that taught me that. Remember some of the bad things, but we had good examples. I mean, there were people here that had taught here for 25, 30 years. Just having been growing up here and having the opportunity to come back and teach and work, I love it. It's great. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So, you're, I think, on the placard for Player of the Year for, was it 86? 19?
Not me. No, that wasn't me.
Another Doug Hoffman.
That wasn't me. But we back in high school. I mean, we had a lot of good athletes, I wasn't one of them back then.
So. Got it. Well, then that leads me to my next question. When did you first fall in love with sports?
Oh man, you can ask my parents. I mean, playing ball all the time. In the backyard, growing up, I always, I just loved a ball. It didn't matter what it was. If there was a ball bouncing, I'm going to be usually, around it. So growing up around sports, it was part of what we did. Loved the competition and just the playing of it. Absolutely.
Sure.
From a young age.
Yeah. Did you do any travel teams or things like that?
No. Back in those days, no. They didn't have. I don't think they had travel teams and rec leagues and things like that. We played, summer league baseball. Everything was done through the school. We had years ago. They had a church softball league. It was neat for the high school kids and elementary kids. But everything was pretty much focused right here at the school in church.
You're in ministry, and you mentioned growing up here. So I find your testimony pretty interesting because you obviously developed this love of sports early on, and then you combined it with this ability to serve in ministry. What were the circumstances that allowed you to combine basically all your passions, to where you are today?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not that of a planner, a thinker. Well, this is what I plan. I love playing sports. I didn't always like being around people. This makes me nervous. In these interviews, put me out on a soccer field with 18 guys, and I feel perfectly comfortable. This is uncomfortable.
It's my gap tooth that makes people nervous.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to bully you.
Thank you.
But it's true. God gives you the desires of your heart. Just having the opportunity to play sports, to be back coaching in sports at the place that you grew up and invested so much in me, and now I have the opportunity to kind of give that back, give a little bit of back to the families who invested in me. It's just something that I'm blessed to have the opportunity to do this. Just to spend time with kids and harassing kids a little bit and messing with them. Yeah, that's the thing I miss most about this whole quarantine. We do the online teaching, but it's nothing like in person.
Sure.
Messing with kids. So.
No, you're right about that. I'm giving you a lot of credit in this area because when I grew up playing sports, and let me pause. It's not like that I was great at playing sports.
Oh.
But you know.
Are you kidding me?
I did play sports. And so that historically did happen, but I wasn't like great. So
But wait. But you were homecoming king.
Oh wow.
See, he didn't have the athletic pro. He had the looks to go with it, so that's what it was.
It's the gap tooth that usually is. I had the sorry vote. One thing that is philosophically different is when I was raised in public school playing sports, I mean, there was an element of sportsmanship and respect the other team, but I mean, you went out to kill the other guy. Like that was the philosophy. It was seek and destroy.
Yeah.
You know, we would make up stuff that they said about us, I feel like. And, you know, I remember hearing these hilarious rumors, you know, in school, like right before a big game, you know, that they were taunting our team's captains, you know, from Fairview High School. I remember that was like a big thing. That was always really funny. So because there is a philosophical difference between public school and Christian school athletics, I want to ask your perspective as an HCS coach. So who were your favorite coaches and most influential coaches growing up?
I was fortunate. I had good coaches. I guess all the way through, starting with my dad. You know, in the backyard playing, you know, baseball. Baseball is his big love. He's not a soccer guy. He's old school. He's baseball or nothing. So we played baseball a lot growing up, and just his patience in working with me, and my brother. You know, he was 4 years older than me, and you know, I always tried to, you know, be better than him, and he could, you know, he's always bigger, taller, stronger, but. He helped me develop my left hand. He'd always say, you got to use your left hand in basketball, and so, you know, helped me develop that. But growing up, I mean, coaches here at Heritage through soccer with you know, Mr. Cook. You know, I just remember him. I think, you know, those of you who've seen me coach, the passion. People they don't get it because I'm encouraging. Not yelling.
Right.
All right.
Encouraging.
And so, he was the same way. I probably picked that up from him. But Coach Wolven, Danny Wolven, he taught me the importance of practice, being organized in practice, watching him. And his practices were organized. Coach Okuma taught me, you know, just watching him. These are guys I coached with, but, you know, Coach Okuma was a great practice coach. He was just, I mean, everything was boom, 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 right down the line. So when you get in a game, you didn't have to get crazy, you know. But I had good coaches in college. My college baseball coach taught me the importance of taking care of business, the little things, you know. Putting the work in, just those types of things, the fundamentals, you know, at that level, were everything. But you know, I had great coaches all the way through, and I guess I had a couple bad ones, but I can only, you know, probably think one or two, you know. But and I would probably say they were bad because maybe I didn't. You know, we didn't, you know.
Are you talking about coaches you managed?
No. Do you? No.
Because my 5-65 record stands as one of the best at HCS.
Absolutely, we're going to keep you on the record book for that one. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, and that's kind of, you started to answer this, but how did playing college sports affect you as a coach?
High school kids, if you're talented, you're better than, you know, some of the kids. But when you get to that next level in college, they're all the same. I mean, there's not that much difference in talent. It's the desire then, and to put the work in, and that's what, you know, in college, like I said, a baseball coach hounded you, like, do the little things, not just in practice, outside of practice. You know, we'd practice 3 hours, 2 hours a day. And then he'd say, okay, if you want to get, you know, better, you put in another 2 hours outside of practice, just hitting off a tee, or, you know, working on ground balls, just anything, everything, hitting the weight room, those types of things. But you know, that was my, you know, the big thing is you know, coach, having played in college, you kind of see what it takes to get to that level, and it's just more dedication, more work. It's not just talent. Talent will only take you so far, but just, you know, putting the work in. That's what it is. The fundamentals, doing those little things. The little things will take care of the big things later on.
So, you know, you got to basically draw a line to see how good someone could be at their craft, which really is a different perspective overall. And I think that would kind of lead into the next question. What types of stresses do coaches carry? I
mean, at different levels, I guess. You know, having, you know, coached here at Heritage, you know, fortunately for me, it's not about winning. You know, I don't have you have the administration or people over the top of me saying, if you don't win X amount of games, you're out, this kind of thing. I guess you put stress on yourself, just to see, if we can get better. The coaching, I'll tell you, as a coach, I have certain stresses, but as an athletic director, my whole thing is, are the teams going to show up? That day, Sure. Are the referees going to show up? All this kind of stuff that I can't control, and that's the stress. But once the teams are there, referees are there, the whistle sounds, then it's game on, and hopefully you prepared right for it, and see what happens.
Well, I'm just thinking about one game last year where the other team showed up to the wrong date that we scheduled
Absolutely.
them.
Yep.
And so
yep.
it was
2 games. Yeah.
It looked like they were scouting us as an
Yep.
entire team.
Yeah. And that's the stuff that stresses me out. At game days and things like that, making sure the concession stand, we don't run out of nacho cheese or something like that. But as far as the coaches, people put different expectations, I guess, on yourself. But it's nice. I don't have that outside, people coming to me saying, why isn't this one, happening and things like that. But, I guess, what is it? What's the line? I'm too blessed to be stressed, right? Amen.
So you talk about HCS and coaching. What were some of the best teams we've had at HCS, and who were some of the best athletes?
Oh, my soul. Man.
We
could do a show.
Also noting that I didn't play at HCS.
Yeah, but you coached at HCS, and you were part of those teams. Yeah. So, but no, we could do a whole segment on that. But some of the best teams. I look back when I was a kid playing. Even before, I remember the first time we ever won the CSO basketball tournament. I think that was like in 81, 82, somewhere around in there. I remember back, when we were played, I don't even know who we played, but I wasn't playing at the time. I was too young. But my brother played, and watching his teams play, great teams. Very, 80s, back in the 80s, even before that, But since I've been playing, I like to say my senior year was the greatest. But my junior year, we were loaded. We had a great team for soccer. That is. Basketball, yeah, whatever. But man, the teams. A couple of years ago, I think we were like 15-1. We've had teams that are loaded and not really. They don't have the numbers, to show it. But just very talented teams. I think the first time we won the state line tournament. I think that I don't even remember the years, but that was going back. I think maybe John Hosey's senior year, Andre Kurloff, those guys that senior year with Austin Lindsay, those guys. That was the first year we won it. Then we won it 10 years later. Back at we've just had some very talented teams, and I've been fortunate as a coach to have that. And I just some of those teams that I can remember. It seems like it was yesterday, but it's been 12, 15 years ago. Some players, I would hate to start mentioning guys' names because there's just so many talented guys who laid it all out there for you and played their hearts out for me, and I've appreciated that through the years. So I'll stay away from recognize. I love the guys, and but I would hate to mention one or two and leave some people off, but. Sure. Very good, very talented guys. We've been blessed.
So what are some common obstacles that athletes face?
Oh, man. Today, today the athletes, I think, are completely different because they just have so much other thing pulling at them, with the social media stuff and, spending time there. The biggest thing for, athletes is the balance, balancing sports along with their schoolwork, along with their ministry, because a lot of our kids, they're heavily involved in ministry. Yeah. Just that balance, trying to keep it all, equal, and just staying focused. I think that's huge. And then you add relationships between the teens or maybe their girlfriend or something like that. That can be stressful for the kids, but as long as they're grounded, focused, they can make it through. It's not easy, but they can do it.
Well, that concludes part 1 of the Good Conversation interview. Please continue to part 2. It's different what we're trying to accomplish here because, in school you have to be a student athlete. well, here you're a student athlete that serves in his church,
Right.
a Christian that is a student athlete.
Right. I mean, a lot of these kids, I mean, they're singing in the choir, they're playing in the orchestra, they're running a Glory Stars class, they're bus ministry, playing specials. I mean, there's a lot that goes in it, and to do it do it right. You got to put time in, and that's goes back to that that doing the fundamentals that I learned in sports, and putting the time in, doing those little things, and everything will take care of the big stuff. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had another question, and this is maybe a more specific question, but it was a while ago now. I remember we were just talking about a particular team, and you made this comment, and I always kind of wanted you to expand a little bit more on this. You said it seems like they forgot how to win. And so that sort of language is really fascinating to me, because it's like that only applies to sports. I mean, obviously you need to win at life,
right.
And things like that. And maybe sports is kind of a microcosm of life, in that way. But can you explain what you meant by that?
A team forgets how to win. Usually, the team has been successful, and for whatever reason, they stop doing those little things, and they stop. And this could be, in the middle of the year. It could be, maybe one year, they're a great team. The next team comes in, they graduate. The next team comes in, and it's like, what happened, guys? Same guys, but we forgot how to do this. But I think a lot of times what that is, one thing happens, and then they start thinking too much, or they stop relying on each other in that teamwork, and they start thinking, well, I have to do it because he's not going to do it. And then the wheels start coming off real quick. Sometimes teams do. A good coach or a good team, they'll recognize that and make those adjustments that need to be made. You see this in life. I mean, relationships. Husband and wife relationships. You got to go back and if you're not paying attention to the little things, it's very easy to forget how it was. And so that's why I love coaching in sports. I mean, it's not just that team, it's not just that game, or it's not that year. We're trying to teach for the future. Teams will do that. They forget how to win. I think the Browns are one of those teams, but not this year. This year.
This is our year.
So
the infamous the drive was on last night on NFL. We were able to catch it on the internet. So I personally brought Miles over to sit next to me because I wanted to teach him how to be a sad Cleveland fan.
Absolutely, that's a true Cleveland fan.
It was really funny hearing him. He was going, "Brownies lost?" I was like, "Yes, son, they lost,
but not this year.
Not this year, right?" So you mentioned encouraging, and I find this very fascinating because it kind of goes down to what I was saying. Is when I came to the youth department, I didn't make the connection between coaching and youth ministry. I was like, okay, this is, at first I looked at it as time to spend with the kids. I was like, which is, of course, is still true. But to your point, how does a coach motivate his team?
Each team is different. That's the thing. And I learned this, it took me a long time to learn this as a coach. What motivates this team? What motivated them last year, that team last year, may not motivate these guys. And so just finding out that you're almost like a psychiatrist, I think, as a coach.
I think you're right, yeah.
You're trying to figure out what buttons do I need to push to get these guys to work. Some of them you just roll the ball out and game on, because they're just I mean, that gets them motivated. Other guys, you almost have to insult them. Like you were saying, you have to make stuff up. Oh, that team they were saying this about you, the poster board material or whatever, the bulletin board material stuff. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say this, but I've done that before. As far as just trying to tell, did you see that they were, the person, I don't want to try to make it personal. I never want to attack a kid personally to make them motivate them. But sometimes, I mean, I've as a coach, I'll say, look, guys, if taking you guys getting mad at me helps motivate, get mad at me all day long because I'm here. I want you guys to succeed. And sometimes you got to do that. You got to be the bad guy and have everybody yelling at mad at you. I'll show him. That's motivation. I wish it was just okay. This is how you motivate, but it's not. This team will do it this way. The next year you think, oh, I got it. And then they look at you like, that doesn't make me move. But Well, so I guess you just got to find the buttons to push, and then once you find them, man, hammer them, and get what get the most out of the players.
I think that's true because I mean I find in ministry, there's certain ways you talk to somebody, because you want them to join a bus route or teach in a Sunday school.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, knowing your kids, and that's why being here as long as I've been here, that's huge. You build that relationship, and so I just that's why I love doing it. Because you can see the kids. Okay, I know I can push this one. I better if I do that.
Right.
That's why I don't coach girls. I don't coach girls. I have coached girls in the past, but. Yeah, I don't know how that would go. So,
do you coach Abby?
Yeah, I coached Abby's soccer team and things like that.
She's got a mean left hook, man. I wouldn't mess with her. That's for sure. So, given the level of intensity that sports can cause, because it's just emotions are running high. Why do you think that student athletes oftentimes they look back to their coach as like a primary influence in their life, or at least one of their influences? And for you, you've been on both sides of this thing. So you've been coached, and you've been a coach now X years.
Right. I think because of that intensity, those feelings, and it's just kind of ingrained in your mind, and you see a coach does something, in the heat of the game. I mean, I remember I think I was a junior in high school, and I can take you to the spot where one of my former coaches, I won't mention his name, Mr. Cook, but he lost it, and that's always in my mind. And so I'm sure some of the former players that have played for me, I'm sure you guys could probably think of a spot that maybe I may have lost it on occasion, but I mean, and that's what it just triggers that in your mind, and that's that's why I think the coaches play such a role in people's lives. Plus, the kids are doing something. Most of the kids that play, they do it because they want to. They love it, and so they're interested in it. And then then something happens, and I think that's why kids look at their coaches in a positive way or a negative way.
You kind of said this before, but if you can kind of maybe reiterate this, what lessons do sports teach us as a whole, like life lessons?
Oh. I mean, it teaches every day, you learn in sports, some days you don't feel like going to practice, but you do it, you put your work in. Some days you don't feel like, and hopefully, through those those August practices, I know some of you guys sitting out there listening, you dread August practices, but those aren't, that's not why we do it, just to aggravate people, just to make them miserable. We do it so at the end of the season, we're in shape and we're beating teams. And so, life is like that. You don't want to get up and go to work, so you just lay around. I don't want to do that. I mean, teamwork, it teaches, that teamwork, self-discipline. It teaches, reliance on others, not just on you. It's not about you. And I think in today's world, everything's about us in a team concept. I mean, yeah, you're part of it, and you may be a big part of it, but without those other 9 guys, or basketball, without those other 4 guys on the court, or volleyball, whatever, you're not going to win. You're not going to be successful. Teaching those lessons is, I think is vital for our teens to get that at a young age, and then they can carry that and build on that for the future.
Well, that concludes part 2 of the Good Conversation interview. Please continue to part 3. How and why can sports influence teens and youth ministry? I find it very fascinating. I mean, it does seem to be a motivator, but in your perspective.
Well, I mean, in ministry, again, it's not about you. Mm-hmm. Ministry is all about others and in giving of yourself. And that's the essence of team. That's the essence of sport. You're giving. It's more than about you. And I think ministry, obviously, I mean, yeah, we could sleep in on a Sunday morning, but ministry, you're going to be involved in the bus ministry. Yeah. You're going to be investing your life in someone else. You look at the church. It's members. Yeah. It's a team, and when one member hurts, we all hurt. It's a team, and so I think the younger the kids can understand that, man, it's just it's a natural progression right into ministry. Giving of yourself, giving back.
Yeah. Do you think it's important that young men find a sport to play?
Oh, absolutely. and I don't want to be politically correct here, but our women too, our girls too.
That's right.
But I think it's great. In sports isn't for everyone. I understand that. Sure. Trying it, just like maybe music isn't for everyone, right. But you never know until you do it. I tried music. It didn't work for me. But now as I'm older, I can't run around anymore like I used to and play sports. I wished I would have stayed with that instrument. You have that for the rest of your life. But
well, I keep trying music and it's still not working for me.
I was. Yeah. It's important just to experience it. Hey, this may be something that I enjoy. And not that you're going to be some professional athlete, but if you do, man, remember your old coach and kick some money our way. But I think it's important just to try this in like I said, hanging out with people, hanging out with guys, your friends, and learning that you belong to something. I think that's important. That sometimes, especially like this quarantine thing, it's like we've all just and we're not a part of the school, we're not a part of the church, we're not. And that's why I appreciate doing this kind of stuff. Just to, hey, we're still out here, we're still here. But I think sports does that. Gives you that sense of you belong to something in something bigger than you. And so I think absolutely. I think teenagers, kids, man, get involved in a sport. Try it. You may not like it, but who knows? You might like it, and you may enjoy it. So
we kind of talked more about the as far as a team mentality as it pertains to sports. How can sports encourage the individual Christian life?
I mean, the biggest thing to me, I think, the discipline. The discipline. You learn that in sports, but in our Christian life, it's discipline. Getting up, doing, putting, and I hate to say putting the work in for your devotions, but I mean that's what's going to get you through, those tough times. Everyone loves the big days on Sundays or whatever, but it's those everyday, the grind that's going to get you there. And so I think sports can absolutely teach that, that motivating, that discipline. Just doing the little things, keep it, taking care of the little things, and then the big things will take care of themselves. I mean, you're, just getting through your Christian life. We don't stop. I mean, the Bible references it. It's a race. We wrestle. Those types of things. And so, I think sports plays a huge role in that, or it can.
Sure. Well, I have one more question, but I have a couple others that I just like to throw out to you as one hitters. All right, which Cleveland sports, and this might be 60 years down the road, all right, but what will be the next Cleveland sports team to win a championship?
Man.
As a guess. We're just guessing.
It doesn't look good for I mean the Browns are so far away, but who knows? I'm always hopeful. I mean, I just want to see it. I want to see this. I want to see this town go crazy for a Browns championship. I mean, it was great. The Cavs. Yeah. This place will come unglued for a Browns Super Bowl win. Indians, who knows? Who knows? There's so many things that have to go right for that. But I would love to see a Browns championship. Yeah. I would love it.
This is a Browns town.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is. I mean, I think people thought we were a Cavs town just because we had LeBron all those years and we won one time with him. But
well, you see now.
Oh yeah, I mean with a 7-9 season, you saw that, Yep. And so
and yet here's the Browns after 1-32 or 1-30. There's still people down there at the stadium going crazy, So yeah, I'm hopeful for the Browns to, pull one out one of these years.
What do you think is the hardest thing in sports? As far as, is it shooting a three? Is it hitting a baseball? Is it throwing a touchdown pass?
I would think
the most difficult thing.
I would think hitting a baseball.
I think hitting a baseball, yeah.
Because because you have a split second to decide if that thing's going to hit me in the head or is it going to curve and be a strike, Yeah. I think that would be, hitting a home run in base, getting a hit in baseball would be incredible. Yeah. But I think hitting a home run would, I don't know, scoring a goal in soccer, scoring a goal in hockey, but I think hitting a home run, that would be.
It seems it, yeah. It always amazes me, the mind of a baseball player, because they actually do see the ball coming in. I mean, I was hitting balls after Nooney, your son, one day in the batter's box, He was just lobbing them to me, and I could hit those.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, give me a pitch, like a real pitch. I couldn't even see the ball. And he was like a 17, 18-year-old kid, and at that time I was like 34.
Well, he's probably coming after you.
I know. Yeah, well, he was all his aggression was coming out at that point. So that's really
Exactly.
good. Do you have any advice for our teens out there that I might be sitting in and watching in?
A lot of things. Wash your hands, obviously. Keep your distance. And
we are right now at this table.
16 feet. Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, the teens. Yeah, advice. Find something that you love to do and jump in and do it. The Lord will bless you if your desires match, His desire. Just having opportunities, here at church, here at school, just to get involved in people's lives. That's the biggest thing. You can go out and make money, and we see that people do this all the time, and they're still unhappy. But investing in people's lives, giving back to your parents, giving back to your teachers, giving back to your school, your church, the people who have invested. Sunday school teacher, elementary teachers. It's nice to see kids who graduate and come back and talk to their second grade teacher or their kindergarten teacher and say thank you. But invest in people's lives. I mean, I think that's the best thing. Like I said, I've been fortunate and I've enjoyed it, and it's been great.
Well, Coach Hoffman, thank you so much for stopping by the Good Conversation interview here with CBC Dean's podcast. But it's been a lot of fun talking to you.
I appreciate that, and we'll virtually shake hands. Up and down. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
He's actually over here to me.
Yeah,
so I'm a hologram right now, and he's actually there, but I'm not real. So
exactly. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate you coming by. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Hope you enjoyed the Good Conversation interview. We'll catch you here on Sunday. Make sure to tune in at 10 a.m. for the CBC Teens podcast. God bless you, my friend, and stay in the Word.